So Heat 76ers, Suns Mavs today. We have the Heat 76ers going on right now. So we're going to start with that one. Predictions for the game. What have you guys seen? Nolan, I'm going to swing it over to you first.
Well, Keoni, you see, when two teams are playing against each other,
what is this
they've-
voice?
Oh,
Wait,
wow.
what is this voice? Where did this go?
Well, we kind of saw first two games of the series. Heat took them. Embiid didn't play. He came back third game, though he wasn't really a scoring threat. He was still able to bring his team that dub, which was much needed. And I think we said it in the last NBA segment we did, where if the Heat want to survive, they had to take the first two games, which they did. So it's kind of a little more of a toss-up now. The Heat are definitely the much more defensive team. Inside presence, obviously Embiid is going to be defensively kind of handling Bam for the most part. I think Lowry is out today with hamstring soreness or something like that. So guard-wise, you'll probably have Butler put on Harden, and then you'll have probably Hero being the one that's kind of, I guess, the scoring threat in the backcourt, which has not been an issue for them.
Hero has been playing hero ball.
Well, he was sixth man of the year, right?
Hey.
So I think the Heat. I think the Heat have a good chance of keeping the game close, but it's really going to depend on how Embiid is affecting.
And he has been affecting both sides of the ball. I mean, I have a couple stats here. Bam went 9 points, 3 rebounds in Game 3, and he was not doing well. Embiid was basically altering every single one of his shots. If it wasn't altering the shot physically, it was altering the shot just by being within the space, and Bam could not get his rhythm going. And one thing about Bam is he's a very skilled player. However, Embiid is much more skilled than he is.
I agree.
Sorry, my cat keeps jumping on.
What up, Cat? Jared, over to you. What do you think about the series so far?
I think
I actually really like the series. Like Nolan said, I had said in the last podcast that they were probably going to win the first two games, and then when Embiid came in, I thought it was going to be the first game that it would take him a little while to get his feet under him, get back into playoff basketball. But since he's been back, like you just said, playing both sides of the ball, been like a big factor on both sides of the ball. But the one thing I think that I didn't expect as much from the Sixers that they've been doing the last two games is the fact that they've been playing really good spread ball. I mean, you look at the numbers from last game, before Harden kind of went off in that fourth quarter, everybody else was like 19, 18, 17, 21. And then Harden ended up with 31 that game, which, I mean, in the long run, when you look at it, when he pulls away like that, and even if the Embiid's not playing that great, they have somebody to carry. But when they're both
all
firing,
5 starters were in double figures.
Yes.
For
And they were like 7, and it was like 17 or more.
Yang. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
It was
crazy.
like 17 or more. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah.
And they still have Harris too,
which is not talked about, but
Exactly.
he's been like basically carrying when anybody's been out injured before Harden got there. I mean, so I think tides. I think tides are changing with the way that they're building momentum. I know they're going back home to Miami, but at the same time, like when you have a good team ball like that and they're playing both sides of the ball pretty decently well, and it looks more like a team than it does just Embiid running the show. So I mean, in the long run, I think Sixers take the series.
Wow. It's like one thing I definitely think you touched on, and I think it's going to be a big factor, Nolan, is you said that Kyle Lowry is out this game. They're predicting that he's going to be out for the rest of the series, which is already bad news for the Heat. I think at this point, they're basically at that point where they have to play perfect ball in order for them to have a really good chance, because they've always been known as a grinded out team, but with the star power that the 76ers have, Embiid going off, Harden kind of catching his rhythm a little bit in this last game, I think the team went, they went 16 of 33 from 3, which is pretty damn good for the game 3. Yeah, exactly. And then for them to have 6 guys go in double digits in game 4, that's scary to see. So that's definitely a team that's on the up and up.
What I'm going to say is possibly an X factor for this game, especially with Lowry out, is using Duncan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Robinson, because he's played 1 minute the whole playoff series.
Yeah,
I think, or
he's
the whole
very,
playoffs.
very
I
small
don't remember.
role.
They said there was like a low $90
Crazy.
million contract extension. If he gets on the floor, I would say for the most part, Sixers rotational defense on the wing is not the best. If he is able to get his open spots and you keep Jimmy keep Jimmy alive in the offense so that he becomes a issue where they have to split their attention, I think it will pay off for them if they are able to put him back on the court and use him. But it just depends. If the coach, if Spoelstra says, "Hey, you're not going to be the reason that we can't use you," then it is what it is. But I think that if he does get on the court and he starts lighting it up,
Also,
it's going
all
to be
praise to Jimmy, man.
big run.
Boy's playing his heart out. I mean, last game I think it was like 40 points for him. So
Yeah,
I mean, he's trying. He's giving them his all. He's trying to get that team going. But yeah, they're definitely having a tough time. So we're already about 8 minutes into this. So I'm going to start swinging it a little bit over to the Bucks and Celtics. What have you guys seen? What are you guys thinking about the games coming up? Wait, was that the game we said? No, that's not the game.
No,
that was yesterday. So yesterday's game. That just happened. What do you guys think about what happened yesterday? Any first reactions, Jared? You first.
I would say, geez, I'm the one who said that we're gonna get swept too. So,
Dude, I was just thinking. I was gonna say too. Nolan's probably the closest as far as predictions wise from our last video, but we're completely off so far from me and you. So
I'm the guy.
I know, dude. I thought it was over already when Embiid was out for the 2 games already, but boy, was I wrong. So
I was right there with you.
Well, you're a Bulls fan, so
It's that. No.
The Lakers didn't make it to the playoffs.
Jeez.
It's okay.
I
know it doesn't matter. We're both on summer break right now.
Yeah, we really are.
Good on 3.
But yeah, so continue on. Bucks Celtics. What do you think, Jared? What have you seen? What's different now?
I mean, I think they're doing kind of what we had talked about if they were going to be successful, was to let Giannis be Giannis, because he's been putting up some good numbers, but they're letting everybody else beat them, And I think they really did step up their defense, and they've actually learned to spread a little further past everything. Playing back to like round 1, where we talked about they were playing such great team ball, and since the All-Star break, where everything was where they found their groove in, I guess you would say. Yep. But I mean, look at last game. You had was it Tatum that went off for 30, or was it Jaylen Brown?
It was Tatum and Horford both went off for 30 apiece.
I say it's Tatum.
No, it was Tatum and Horford.
Al Horford's best playoff performance, like that's his career high, is 30. And for him to do that, even with the inside presence that they do have, even though he's a stretch, I mean, his presence alone to be able to be that third guy to kind of take the everything away from Jaylen Brown and Tatum, I mean, it helps the team so much. And I think that's where the Celtics, again, like we talked about the Sixers, once the Bucks went up, I was like, okay, they still game 2. And then Giannis looked like Giannis again. And I 100% thought, I was like, okay, the Bucks are going to win this in 5 or 6.
Exactly. Yep.
And now I think it's a turnaround again. Like we just talked about the Sixers match. I think the Celtics might just surprise them the last 2 games. I mean, they got their whole team rolling, and it looks just great out there. I love watching them play. And Marcus Smart, can't say enough about him.
Yep.
I mean, we talked about him.
Player of the year.
And he's really living up to the things that he's doing.
For a reason. Nolan, so we talked about Marcus Smart, talked about them scoring 60 points to basically take the bulk of the game.
Gotta be the haircut.
This hair, no, I'm just joking. I'm gonna leave my hat up. Hey, say that kind of shit.
No, I think it kind of goes back onto what we were discussing last time. Celtics are that team this season, so it's not surprising that they brought it back to 2-2 series tied. Obviously, Bucks are still missing Middleton, and that's a big issue in regards to spreading the floor. Because without him, a lot of the offense is going to be running through Giannis, and Celtics know it. So it's not so much where it's one of those coaching strategies where it's not like,
Yeah.
hey, let's stop Giannis. It's do what we can with
Yep,
Giannis.
exactly.
Stop everyone else.
Exactly.
Because Giannis is not going to be able to score 100 points in every single game. But I think the Celtics definitely are with the momentum. They're going to need Horford to continue to push that kind of production each game, because
Yep.
he did it once. That might be why they were able to squeeze out this win, but at the same time, don't expect that one game is going to be the reason why you win the series. You need to be able to consistently push through with that, and I think that he's capable of doing it. He's a veteran. He's
Former
a
defensive
seasoned
player of the
veteran
year candidate
who's
so,
been playing.
Sure.
Just the fact that he's been playing
Yeah,
off.
he's been playing on playoff
He's been a factor
teams
in
for
playoff teams
years
for
and
years
years.
and years.
Yeah, he was a part of that Hawks team that.
Oh,
what
dude,
was
that
that?
honestly one of the most underrated teams because
07?
honestly,
Was that
yeah,
07?
that sounds about right. Might have been a little, maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little later.
I was like, it might be
Maybe
like
a
12
little
or
later.
something like that. But either way,
Maybe a little later.
Yeah, but either way, he knows what he's doing. The Celtics know what they're doing. None of them are scrubs anymore. They're not
Yeah.
fresh. They're
They're
not.
not
I
new
mean,
to
they're
the
not
game
fresh
kinda
faces.
thing.
I mean, not so much scrubs. Yeah. So they've been to the playoffs year in and year out. I think that this is going to be a battle, and it's
also
going to be fun
such
to
an
see the
underrated
next few
pickup
games.
for the Celtics this year because just him going to the 76ers didn't feel right. So I was happy that he finally got to go back to the Celtics.
Yeah.
He said as much that he loved playing there. It was kind of a mistake for them to have gotten rid of him when they did.
Yeah.
And on top of that, just so happy for him. I'm happy that he had a career night. And honestly, I don't know if you saw like the disrespectful like poster dunk that Giannis had on
Dunk.
him, and
Yeah.
then he
And that's what he said did.
Set him
He's like,
off.
"Oh, it was a stare down that got me. And
exactly. And I was
then
like,
me."
honestly, I mean, I get it. You're in the middle of the game. You're doing things. You can do that kind of stuff. You want to celebrate it, but yeah, that really bit him in the butt later in the game because honestly, Horford went off. It just could not stop the gravy train that was Al Horford. But any last thoughts on the Bucks Celtics? What do you guys think is going to happen? What do you guys think is going to happen for the next couple of games? Any predictions for the ending of the games? New predictions, since I know that we screwed up the first ones.
I'm gonna.
I think
it's gonna go to 7.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's gonna go to 7. I don't foresee either of these teams winning back-to-back games right now, because it is kind of a toss-up. So I'm gonna say this one is gonna be the one that goes to 7.
I'm gonna wait till Nolan answers, then I'll make my answer.
Yeah. Well, good
This time I'm not gonna make my answer too early because last time.
So now later on, if it's completely wrong,
No,
no,
you're
you're
an
an
idiot.
idiot.
Listen to you. Any predictions for the Heat 76ers series? Since we didn't go over that beforehand.
I think this one's gonna go to 6.
I think the Sixers win in 6.
This one will go to 6.
Oh,
I think the Sixers.
does that
win in
mean
6.
Nolan? You're actually predicting the Sixers in 6?
The Heat in
I think
6?
the Heat are going in 6.
Who are you thinking in 7? Who are you thinking in 7 though? You said
Because
7.
Heat. The
You said
Heat is
7
the same.
for the Boston
What,
game,
what?
but you never said who's going to win.
That's true. You didn't say.
That's true. I gotta give it to the Celtics. I think the Celtics are gonna do it. I
This is
think
the
that
time?
this is
I
it.
mean,
This is their run.
At this point,
this is their run.
their proven moment. I mean, we've been through so many teams that were similar to this, where you had like the Washington Wizards led by John Wall and Bradley Beal, and then you had like these. I mean, there's just a bunch of teams, but this is their moment. They're supposedly like 2 big stars. Hoping for the best for them. They had so many chances before with Kyrie, with all that other drama that they went through, Isaiah Thomas and all that. So
I was gonna say not to jump ahead, but let's say it is Warriors Celtics. What better team is meant to match up against the Warriors?
honestly, that would be
I
a
agree.
good. That would be
That'd be a 7-game battle right there. That's the one.
yeah.
That's the team that you want to see.
Great game. All right, so we're gonna push forward a little bit. Over to the Western Conference. I'm gonna start with the Grizzlies Warriors games first. What have you guys seen? Any reactions from the games? We've had a lot of players that were either suspended for a game or checked themselves out of the games. This series has been very chippy. A lot of guys not happy after games. So, what are your thoughts? What's going on? How do you feel? Nolan, to you first.
It's over.
Dude, I mean, it's the only series that's
Warriors
not
are
tied up
taking
right
in
now. Right
5.
now, they're the only one that's 3-1.
Warriors is taking in 5. Grizzlies
Yep.
had a lead all last
Yep.
game, blew it in the end. Morant's not supposed to be back for the rest of the series. He's got a bone bruise. So outside of that, sure, they can play team ball, take the lead, maybe squeeze a game out, but I think it's done in 5.
Maybe they'll squeak one out. It'll be like the this is for Ja game, but
I thought that last game was gonna be
this is
the
for Ja, but
game.
not next game.
yeah,
Just
I mean,
this
yeah,
one.
they had their
I mean,
the last one
yeah.
to make the revenge game, but
yeah, I mean, it sucks. Ja Morant, as prolific and exciting as a player as he is, he is very injury prone. He always has some sort of knee sprain. His ankles are reminiscent of Steph Curry. Steph has some ankles that
it's okay.
I was gonna go there, but I was gonna go there, but
I was like,
I saw your face, and you were like,
just don't say it.
But no, I was gonna say more reminiscent of Steph Curry because he doesn't season-ending injuries doesn't happen. It's just he's out for games.
Just like,
wow, he went there.
But no, I think that's
honestly,
the make or
like
break for them.
That's one thing with players like him, like Russell Westbrook, and like Zion Williamson is going through it right now. The bros. I mean, Blake Griffin even slowing down a little bit too. It's like, what?
A little bit.
He done slowed down into a ice age. But anyway, they don't really account for that when they're young, and now that they're like slowly in the league longer and the schedules are longer and they're playing back to back games. And for Ja specifically, I mean, I think in the series he was the team's leader for points, rebounds, and assists.
Yeah.
So for him to be doing all that in one series with that amount of athleticism, trying that hard every game, he's definitely pushing that injury prone.
It makes sense, yeah.
Jared, over to you. Any thoughts on the series? Is it a wrap for you as well? Game 5 over already?
I went Nolan. I think Klay found his stride, even though he's not still playing Klay Thompson basketball that we're used to. Like I think
he found his stride enough in the game that basically turned the tide. He started a 10-0 run.
Yeah.
I think Jared Ben's on the other side of the ball.
Giving up a lot, and I mean, I feel like his step still isn't there. The steps that he used to have to stay with defenders, stay in front of them, the offenders, and it's just not there. But I will say, I don't know. It's hard to say like in 5, just because throughout the season, Ja's been injured kind of plenty. Like he's been injured a lot. And I know this is playoff basketball. And I always say it's a different gear. The Warriors are a different gear. They play a different type of basketball. But the Grizzlies' record without Ja through the season is actually really good. I think it's like 21-5 or something, or 20-6. And, you know, if through a season you learn to live without your leader and be able to put up more points, give up less points, and be that effective on both sides of the ball, I mean, you got to give it to them that they can steal one. Granted, it is the Warriors, they're that team, but still, I mean, Memphis has been that team all season as well. They're not ranked number 2 for no reason, you know. They earned their respect this year in that aspect. So, I mean, I'm thinking 6, but I would love to see them close it out in 5, just because, you know, I just want one series to just kind of go so we can focus on the other 3 right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, my counter to that would be, obviously, you know, I do agree there is a chance they could squeeze out another win. And you're absolutely right. Their record without Ja during the regular season was crazy. But that's what kind of where I'm going at with, you know, this is playoff basketball, right? And when push comes to shove, all season they were thinking, let's play. This is now our back is against the wall. Are we gonna like nut up or shut up? Like that's kind of where they're at. And I hate to like point it, like the normal kind of argument is they haven't been to the playoffs like this before. None of the boys have. Like they're rookies
Steven
to this.
Adams, I think, is the only person on their roster.
It's going to be Steven Adams for sure. No wait. Yeah, you're right.
Kyle Anderson with the Spurs.
Yeah,
Kyle Anderson. So there is, you know, some vets there who can kind of rally the troops, but I think it's it's going to be just
Mhm.
kind of, let's see what your team is made of. If your back is against the wall where these games actually matter
Yeah.
and it is an elimination, how are you going to kind of play without your best
Yeah.
player? So we'll see how it goes. I don't mind. Yeah, I agree. I don't see
Mhm.
any issue with them squeezing out another win, but I
just think
personally think
I
it's
just
going
know
to be done in
Golden State's
5.
gonna win.
I'm probably going to be wrong. I'm probably going to be wrong because the last time I agreed with Jared, we were wrong.
Jeez.
However,
Just me.
however, I will say that I think there's a chance they could squeeze out one. My X factor for that happening would be Desmond Bain. If there's somebody that's gonna rally the troops and try to steal one game, maybe have an unreal game to take one from Golden State, it would be him. If he doesn't, it's a wrap. Yeah, I mean, Game 5 wrap. Just he's got to play his heart out and play way above where he is right now. But yeah, with that said, we got the Grizzlies. Golden State game hopefully wrapping up. Not hopefully wrapping up. That was horrible. I shouldn't have said that. I just mean that it'd be nice to not have so many games to concentrate on.
Yeah, that's what I said. I mean, let's get one out of the way so we can concentrate on the other games.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, like,
you know,
it would be nice to just like let's move on. Let's get to that finals game already. But after that, we have the last series predictions for today for the Suns versus Mavs.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, sorry. Going over to you, Jared. Sorry about
that. Who are you pointing to?
I don't know.
We're looking up, and I'm not looking down.
He's looking at somebody.
Going to you, Jared.
So in the it's gonna be.
I don't know.
He's gonna be pointing
So
this way.
I'm the one who said that I thought they were gonna sweep just because everybody was firing on all cylinders. You know, like I thought Phoenix was playing great ball, and then you look at game 3. Game 3 was Chris Paul's turnovers. It was Luka being Luka, just going off, getting a little help, of course, because he's gonna. And then game 4 was Chris Paul's foul trouble. I mean, this series really depends for the Suns on Chris Paul. It's really going to be on Chris Paul. But I will say, you pointed it out when I said, "Oh, I thought they were going to sweep them." That Luka being Luka is not going to go down without a fight. And I mean, I know we always talk about like I'm a LeBron fan, but I really like watching Luka play. When
it's
LeBron
very similar, but without that athleticism.
Yes. Yeah. So when LeBron retires, I said I want to follow.
Because he's European.
No, because he's one of the reasons why I'll probably still watch NBA basketball because I really like watching Luka play. So with that being said, I'm gonna lean a little bit towards the Mavs. You know, he's been stepping up a little bit, and hey, and I ain't got a Doncic jersey up here for nothing over here.
Hot take.
But I mean, it's gonna be hard. I'm not gonna lie because when Booker's on, when Chris Paul is playing his game, like that's a hard team to beat. That's why they are like the defending Western Conference champions. They returned almost everybody, and you know to have that kind of chemistry to be there before, through that last year's playoff run, and to have that like bad taste in their mouth against the Bucks, you know it's gonna be like okay, now we got like Nolan said, you got to put up or shut up, and
they got
you're not gonna do that. That's what it is.
I was like they got like the playoff finals king with Jay Crowder on their team. So the Suns always got a chance of making it just that guy. For some reason, that dude.
And in game 3, Jay went off. Like he was shooting 3-pointers. Like and he had a shot a great percentage that game. So
not to go off topic, but I always thought it really sucks that the Cavs when they had Isaiah and him and LeBron,
Dwayne Wade.
Like, honestly, like when they did that trade, all I kept thinking was, bruh, they got so deep, especially with Jay Crowder. I was thinking like he's like the perfect guy to play next to LeBron. A 3-and-D, just a guy who's keeps his head down and just plays hard every single game, but nothing. And then they end up trading him to the Jazz and. He's just starting his string of like, let's get teams to the NBA finals. But anyway,
he really is.
He's PJ Tucker.
But anyway, so sliding over to you, Nolan. Predictions for the game today. I think it's 4:00, so it's like 2.5 hours from now. But predictions for what's going to happen. What's going to happen in the series? What do you see happening?
All arrows point to the Suns should be taking this series. But Jared's right. Doncic, he's that guy right now. He is pretty much like the X factor whenever he's gone to the playoffs. Even though he didn't really necessarily take series in the past, he's the reason why it's forced to that 5th or 6th game, and they're already up, or it's tied 2-2 right now, right? And last game they had, I think Finney Smith had 24 points on 8 threes or something like that.
And the game before was Jalen Brunson.
So if you think about this Mavs team, it's very reminiscent of LeBron's first Cavs run, where he is just bringing up every, a high tide raises all ships, and he's that tide right now.
Great comparison.
And
I like that.
The way he plays.
That's a great one.
The way he plays, he finds his guys, and his guys know their role. You kind of said it last game, the foul trouble regarding Chris Paul, right?
He only played 27, 32 minutes or something like ridiculous for him.
Yeah. So it's going to be dependent on them. I think, Booker's not new to this anymore. Crowder, like you said, he's a defensive, great 3-and-D player. Michael Bridges, come on, he was the other one running up for defensive player of the year.
Actually, McKeague.
So I think
Bridges.
that they have all the tools.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Sorry, McKeague.
At first, I had to think. I was like, "There's so many Bridges in the league." So I was like,
slow down.
I was like, "What's other
his
Bridges?"
brother.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think that the Suns should take it, but it's going to be up to them to actually follow through with it. Doncic, if history repeats itself, he's going to get frustrated at some point if something's not working out as a whole on his team. And I think this one's going to go to 6. No, actually, and this one can go to 7 as well.
Yeah.
I think that because it's 2-2, it's a fresh slate, 1st to 3. I can see the Mavs squeezing another one out.
They're like a true underdog. You know what's crazy about that team? I was like looking at just their starting lineup. If you looked at the starting lineup, first of all, Reggie Bullock's in the starting lineup. I mean, Dwight Powell, Dorian Finney-Smith, Luka, and Dinwiddie.
And Jalen Brunson.
Powell's matched up with.
Like, when you're I'm looking at this team, and I'm just like, this is an NBA playoff team in the Western Conference, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Like.
But if you actually think about it, it might be dependent on their rotations. But who is the Suns bench?
Good question.
JaVale
McKeague.
Shamit, right?
I was just saying, JaVale McKeague is the first one that comes to mind, but Landry Shamet,
yeah.
So what I'm thinking is the reason why the Suns team is struggling so much is their bench is veterans, but it's not necessarily the veterans you need to match up with the Mavs. Because if they do rotate the players where it's the Mavs starting 5 versus the Suns bench, Mavs can easily kind of run with it because they've been playing. They're
that deep down, exactly.
Chemistry
into the roster.
Yeah. And you also have Dinwiddie coming off the bench for the Mavs, who's not a scrub. He knows his business. So I think it really is going to be kind of an. Sorry, was that?
Dinwiddie?
Very underrated.
It's crazy how far he's fallen from like his.
Fun.
I don't know. To me, it was just they did him so dirty.
I don't think he's fallen. He's just
really
been replaced by like the KDs, the Kyries.
That's what I'm saying.
He just got
the Nets did him so dirty when they made that team and kind of pushed him out of the rotation. Like I feel like they didn't really even try to do like a double guard lineup or triple guard lineup or whatever.
Well, who's laughing now because he's still in the playoffs?
Yeah, exactly. For real.
And he's thriving. And he's still thriving though. He's still thriving. So he's not like he's just I'm sitting on the bench and being carried. No, he's putting in work. So
also so sad that
it's gonna be fun to see.
Super, super long time ago because he was on the Bulls at one point. But
yes,
I just always think like it sucks that like I remember when he played for the Bulls and thinking, oh, like we should hold on to this guy. And then the Bulls were going through this thing where like every time they had like a guy go off for them, they're like, all right, we'll let him walk in the summer. Like literally every single guard we got at that time. I think it was like Nate Robinson.
You'll never be Jordan. Get out of here.
Bye. Nate Robinson carried us to that one playoff series. Let him go during the offseason. DJ Augustine came in and carried us to a playoff series. Let him go. No reason. Then they had him, Dinwiddie, carried us when D Rose went down. Let him go. I was like, what's going on here? I don't understand. What is the premise of having guys that go out to raise their value and then being like, you
Come
know
on.
what, we don't want to pay you $2 million. That's crazy talk. $2
They
million.
don't want to pay
We're
you
done.
just $1 billion more than
We're
what
I was
done.
like, that's. I think I remember reading something where it was like Spencer Dinwiddie. They offered him or he was only asking for like maybe 20 mil, which in NBA terms, 20 mil for 4 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And they were like, that's whoa, calm down there. We're not gonna pay you 5 mil.
We could re-sign D Rose for 24 and for 1 year, and it's gonna be great because he won't get injured now. Right, Keoni? Right, Keoni?
I wish I could virtually punch you right now.
I know, right?
Technically, you can virtually punch
D-Rose
someone.
and then
Sure.
D
So not to like wrap it back through, Nolan, I want to ask you, like, do you think Aiton?
I'm a Pisces.
Do you think Aiton is
sorry.
one of
Go ahead.
another big factor of why it's been 2-2? Like his presence on both sides of the ball.
Yes. Yes,
Mhm.
I think they need to utilize him more. I think Aiton right now has the upwards trajectory of being like a Jarrett Allen. Where Jarrett Allen, even though he's moved to a few teams now, he's still at least like a 12 and 10 guy on a bad day and getting 1 to 2 blocks a game. I think that's going to be because Powell's not going to stop him. You start like throwing it down inside, Powell's not going to stop him. And yeah. And if you put that inside, stop. Keoni.
I didn't say anything. I just made a face to the camera.
All of us know. We just.
I was like, as far as the
If you
podcast is
establish,
concerned, nothing happened right there.